The models are almost at the point where you will see an explosion of voice native applications. I think voice changes everything. You really do need to work side by side with governments to ensure that countries are ready for what's coming.
Welcome to Prompted, a podcast about AI, people, and the creative spark. I'm Cameron Adams, and I'm fascinated with leaders who are actually using AI to be more creative. And today, we are joined by Oliver J. Oliver has spent his career scaling companies that change the way we work, leading unicorns like Asana and Dropbox through hypergrowth and IPOs. Today, he's driving OpenAI's international expansion, shaping how AI reaches the world and guiding the next generation of founders to lead with creativity, clarity, and courage. Oliver, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here, Cam.
It is so good to have you. And as with every guest on the Prompted podcast, we would love to get to know you a little better. And we do this uniquely by getting you to do the prompt. So with the prompt, we want you to start by drawing something from your childhood that inspired you while you tell us the story all about it. You get 90 seconds to talk and draw. I hope you got a little marker and some paper there. Are you ready?
I am ready. I have a nice bunch of pens here.
All right, let's set the timer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm not great at multitasking, so this would be a challenge. So when I was young, I remember sort of like one of my first experiences with technology was on a trip with my parents to Japan. Back then, I was like probably 7, 8 years old. I was given something called a Walkman.
Nice.
If you remember that.
Cutting edge technology.
I think we might be dating ourselves now, but that was really one of my first moments with technology where I really felt like technology can sort of transport you to a different zone and a different world with, in this case, with music. This is what I thought about when you gave me the prompt.
We definitely have a shared heritage. I spent many hours and days on my Walkman, just totally in bliss in a different world.
Absolutely.
We'll have to swap mixtapes after this, Oliver.
Yeah. I think my parents got it for me, but really it was for themselves. And so I grew up like listening to their songs because those are the only cassette tapes that they bought for me.
I want to see this rendition of a beautiful looking Walkman. Can you show it to us?
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right, now you know I'm on the business side, I'm not on the creative side. So here we go. Let me see if I can, here you go.
Hold it up a little bit. Amazing. We can see the tape reel there. We got some headphones. You've got the play buttons. That is definitely a Walkman. Thank you for sharing it.
I'm going to guess not everybody knows what the heck we're looking at here.
We're giving everyone a history lesson as well as looking into the future. So we're going to send this picture to Yvonne, our designer in residence, who's going to team up with AI to whip it into something new. And we're going to reveal Oliver, Yvonne, and AI's creation at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. Audio listeners, if you want to check out the picture, go to the show notes, look at the link. It's an amazing drawing of a historical artifact from many years ago. So while Yvonne works, let's go deep on AI with you, Oliver.
Let's do it.
You actually pioneered product-led growth at both Dropbox and Asana, and now I think you're on one of the biggest rocket ships the world has ever seen. How does the adoption curve of ChatGPT mirror or maybe diverge from the classic PLG playbook?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I feel like I've been very blessed to have had a chance to have been on a few rocket ships now. And Dropbox being the first, I think one of the early PLG companies. When I think about my experience at OpenAI so far, I would say that a lot of the principles of how you scale a product-led growth company stay consistent. But I think the tactics certainly have changed, and we can get into that a little bit. When I think about the adoption curve, the growth curve, it's similar, but it's just the slope of that curve. It's a lot more steep because AI is this phenomenon that has been adopted so quickly in so many places in all facets of society. So that's really the change. I think the principles don't change, but the tactics definitely need to change.
I mean, I think you've got now over 800 million active users on ChatGPT. That all done within the space of 3 years. I remember when ChatGPT launched back in November of 22. What does that scale of growth mean? Like, how do you adapt to that differently to the companies that you've worked at before?
Yeah, you're right. We've grown quickly, as you said, 800 million users. We also see all that growth on the business side. So within 3 years, we went from 0 to 1 million businesses using AI at work, upskilling their teams, building products like Canva, amazing AI products. So it is very different. I think when I said like the tactics are different. So for example, when we think about international, this time last year, we had a small office in London. I think we had one person in Tokyo. But at the same time, AI is adopted everywhere. Right now, we're opening 6 offices at the same time in parallel, Australia included.
Are you doing all that yourself?
And thankfully, I have a very talented team. We've got a couple AI agents helping out, so we have the leverage. But it is, again, it's just like we have to think about doing things differently and a lot more things in parallel as opposed to sequentially.
Why is it that you say that AI is happening everywhere as opposed to other products that you've worked on, which maybe showed promise in certain markets and you fostered and flourished there before moving on?
I think AI is just. I think we got lucky. I think we got lucky with the launch of ChatGPT as a interface that is quite familiar with people, right, in the form of chat. That was a blessing because then it made AI accessible so quickly to so many people. And whether you're using, you can use AI for education to learn. You can use AI to search to like get more information. It just has become such a easy entry point. It's kind of crazy. Like 3 years ago, when ChatGPT launched, you couldn't even upload a PDF, right? And subsequently, in very, very short order, the capabilities have truly expanded. So now ChatGPT can, in the workplace, as an example, it can integrate with all your data sources. So whether it's your email, Slack, right, your documents, and it can actually pull in that information and reason over things and actually help you. And so now with ChatGPT, you can actually do so many more things. Like I wake up every day and I have like a different, ChatGPT tells me what my day is ahead looking like and how to prepare for it. The utility that people get is so immediate. And I think that's another reason why it has taken off so much is because the people get value so quickly.
I think the approach OpenAI has taken to growth and international expansion is pretty unique, given the lifetime of the product, just under 3 years now. I think you're pressing the accelerator on so many different markets at the same time, which is kind of unprecedented. I haven't seen many companies do this. And you're also doing it at a level which is far beyond even some of the biggest companies I see now. You're tackling countrywide deals, you're talking to governments, you're getting hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructure built across different markets. How are you juggling all this? What is the actual strategy behind it all?
I think there's a top-down and a bottoms-up approach, I think. So bottoms up, I think you're totally right. Like we have to localize really quickly for the global markets. And when we think about that, there's improving the model. I think what we recently launched in India is a really good example. We recently launched India QA, which is a benchmark that we built together with like 200 some experts in India to teach the model not only languages but also like cultural nuances in India, right? So I think like you have to like improve the model, you have to improve the product, right? There's with different SKUs, making the product more affordable and accessible. We can launch ChatGPT Go as an example to make it more accessible to all. As we just talked about earlier, then it's about like expanding the actual delivery part, right? And this is where we're opening a lot of offices to be closer to our users and our customers. Then the top-down piece is the government piece. And I think AI is such a big wave that our mission is to ensure that AI benefits everyone. And at that kind of scale, you really do need to work side by side with governments to ensure that countries are ready for what's coming or what's already here. And so that's why we launched the OpenAI for Countries program. It's a program that is designed to partner with countries based on each country's own AI strategy and different AI missions. For some countries, they're really prioritizing education. So countries like Estonia and Greece, right? We're actually working with the government to think about how to embed AI into the curriculum. For other countries, is really around infrastructure. Australia is a great example. Right? I think there's a phenomenal productivity gains to be had in the country here. We recently did a research, and we think Australia can add 142 billion more to the economy by 2030.
That's amazing value add.
And you need infrastructure to be able to power that. And so for many countries, it's about thinking about how to partner with countries to build out the right infrastructure as well. So it really is encompassing, and that's what makes my job so fun.
Does every country need to build out its own infrastructure, or is there shared infrastructure that the world can have?
I think this is a question that every country needs to answer for themselves. I think every country has its own advantages and that they can lean into. Australia is one where for sure there's plentiful land and natural resources, and so it actually lends itself to, it could be a competitive advantage for Australia to really think about infrastructure. But I do think this is a country by country prioritization, and we're here to just partner with governments and for whichever direction that they want to double click on.
Having these relationships on a countrywide level is hugely ambitious and certainly incredibly powerful for OpenAI. If I look at it somewhat cynically, I'm also like, this is great lock-in. Like if you've got an entire country using ChatGPT, that is amazing for maintaining your growth. Is that some way that you look at it?
Not at all. I think the way we look at it is really back to the mission, and we want to make sure the benefits of AI accrues to everyone. So let's use infrastructure as an example. Right? We think the risk of not having enough compute far outweighs the risk of having too much. All right, and so that's why we think it's important to get out in front and to partner with governments to ensure that if they want, right, that the infrastructure is there to support the government. We talked about infrastructure. One thing we haven't talked about yet is upskilling and preparing the workforce for the AI era. Right? And this is another area that I think is super important for every country actually to think about. And that's why we've announced we are working on a jobs platform. And there's multiple dimensions to this. One part is leveraging our academy that we've received tremendous, great feedback on, right? And our academy sort of up-levels people and teaches people the basics of how to get benefits from AI. We're going to build a certification program that sort of certifies people as they go through the training. And then we're going to build a jobs platform to make it easier for those who have been certified to find jobs, and vice versa, to have companies who are looking for the more AI native or trained employees. And so these are some of the areas that we really think benefits everyone and helps make sure that the benefits of AI accrues to everybody.
What's some of the differences with OpenAI's job platform versus something like LinkedIn or Indeed or everywhere else you go to get a job nowadays?
Well, we're still in the design phase, and so we'll have to wait. And we're doing the user research right now to answer that question. So I have to get back to you.
What's the thesis? You must have some idea of the opportunity there.
I think we are leveraging the knowledge that we've gained with working with 1 million businesses around the world to distill down into what are the most critical skills and knowledge to be gained in how you leverage AI. We've trained thousands of companies now on how to use tools like ChatGPT Enterprise and Business. That's really going to be the difference that you'll see. Is it will be likely pretty opinionated because it's going to come from a place of experience, of really help understanding how do you take very competent people and sort of like give them, amplify the skills and the capabilities they can have. So I think that's probably the difference you'll see.
We are starting to see some changes and evolution in the way people are learning. OpenAI launched study mode within the ChatGPT app, which is kind of a different approach to education. You were telling me a really interesting story about where that came from. Can you tell our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of being a global company and having an international user base, one of the things we noticed when we were looking at usage patterns was the countries like India, where there's average age is much lower than more industrialized countries, right? So average age in India is 29 years old. And we're looking at the usage data, and it was really clear that a lot of people in India were using ChatGPT to learn, all right, more so than other countries. And so what we did was with that insight, we actually brought our user researchers to India and actually learn and watch, right, how are students using ChatGPT to learn. And what we learned, the insight there was the students were not looking for answers. They were looking for better understanding the chain of thought behind the models. And with that insight, we built study mode. And this is a phenomenal interface where students can come in with their homework, with their questions, or any topic. And what the model is trained to do is to be more like a tutor. And what does a tutor do? A tutor doesn't tell you the answers. A tutor walks you through, prompts you, challenges you, gives you clues along the way so that you yourself figure out the chain of thought that gets to the answer. And so I think that's a lovely example of the benefits of working and having such an international user base. And I'm very blessed to have a leadership team that really embraces international thinking and being global first. And I think Canva, and very much so, has this very similar experience.
Yeah, we have been a global company pretty much since day one. We're headquartered here in Australia, and Australia is a fantastic country to build from, but it's also a fairly small market. So for us to be a globally competitive company, we always needed to think beyond our borders. And we've always thought about every country that Canva is used in. We've got over 190 countries now where we have a user base, and making it feel like a truly local product in each of those countries is vitally important to the success of Canva, which kind of brings me to how AI gets localized, because there's often this tension, right, between producing a very general model, which anyone can pick up and kind of responds in a very all-knowing way about what you're trying to chat to it to or get it to achieve. But there's also often a lot of local context in how people interact, how they talk, how they frame questions, the kinds of information that they expect back. And that's very culturally nuanced. How are you approaching that, thinking about international expansion with ChatGPT and other OpenAI services?
There's a few things that come to mind. The first thing that I learned after joining is how we go about training our models. And it's when it comes to languages, for example, we train the models to understand like the core principles of like linguistics. Mm-hmm. And so it's fascinating. So we train the model on like 6 languages. The model actually gets better at multiple more languages than those 6. Because what the model's learning is not like rote memory. It's like, imagine if you're learning a language and I just teach you just to memorize, mm-hmm. versus teaching you some of the basics of like a Latin-based language versus a character-based language. And so the model like learns really intelligently. That's a great benefit to have, because the model actually will learn as it goes through mid and post training. I do want to come back to your point around cultural relevance. You think about the world's information, there are some countries that might not have as much information for the models to learn from. And so in those cases, we will go the extra step and really work with local experts to ensure that we actually bring the model capabilities to understand those cultural nuances. I think Index QA in India is the first of its kind, right? But it's a benchmark where the way we created the benchmark was with experts, cultural experts. and they graded each answer. And these questions are not black and white, right? When it comes to the cultural differences, it is very nuanced. And so I think you can see more and more of this kind of work. That was just our first foray, and I think the reception has been great, and I think you'll see more and more of that.
There is like a massive opportunity with AI to democratize access for all people in the world to the best information and the best research and the best way to take action on things. But there is also a risk that it furthers the digital divide. Access to AI, access to models, being able to use it on the device that you have rather than a device you can't afford is a bit of a risk. So when you're thinking about bringing, ChatGPT and other services to areas like Africa or places with low connectivity, how do you think about that as an opportunity or a barrier to people accessing the benefits of AI?
There's a way, again, top down or bottoms up way we think about it. Tops down, like this is the purpose of OpenAI for countries, right? I think this is a priority for every country, and we will partner with countries in Africa, right? And understand what their priorities are. And I don't think it'll be that different. There is a core fundamental, upskilling that is global. That need is everywhere, and which is why we're engaging with governments and with the largest enterprises. In Australia, it would be like Combank, it would be like Coles, right? We're working to ensure that like everybody, and I think it's a shared responsibility between government, OpenAI, and corporates to really like up level in the education system. The bottoms up angle is really through product. And the area that I am personally so excited about, because I think we're on the cusp, the potential of voice and the potential for the models are they're like at the point where you will see an explosion of voice native applications. The AI is almost there. It's really, really close. Right now, you can already try it with voice mode. It's like improved a lot since we first demoed it.
Yeah, I love voice mode.
Yeah, and just like it makes you take a step back and think, okay, most of our digital experiences so far have been through this like ridiculous QWERTY keyboard, right? And without this keyboard, you really don't get access to a lot of the digital goods and benefits that we've all benefited from. But when you think about majority of this world, they don't speak languages that are like Romanized. In fact, we've had to like force like languages to be Romanized, like Pinyin in Chinese, katakana in Japanese, and that's just unnatural. Like I speak Chinese, like man, writing Chinese on a computer is frankly kind of ridiculous. Like, why am I writing English to write Chinese? I think voice changes everything. Can change everything. And so I'm very, very excited about the possibilities there. I think it opens up. I think this is a perfect example of how AI can add a new modality that grants access and accessibility to a lot of services, and in doing so, ensure that the benefits like accrues to everybody, and this digital divide doesn't widen, but if anything, it narrows.
I love the idea that this technology could be the step change we need to truly democratize access to information and technology and action. I think that's a really undersold aspect of what AI can bring to the world.
I can't wait for the day when someone in rural India can generate a designs in Canva with just voice and a kind of lo-fi smartphone.
Don't worry, we're also working on it.
Perfect. And we're there to help you.
I think everyone is fascinated with how AI actually gets used within OpenAI, because we figure you're the world leaders and you're using it best. So I'm interested, when you first joined OpenAI, what was the most surprising thing you saw about how AI has been using internally?
When I joined OpenAI, I had this bias because I've seen how technology is adopted in other companies, right? On both sides, like internally as well as like deploying my technology, whether it's Dropbox or Asana. And usually you have these like early adopters. For Asana, it was like the project manager, right? And what I was really surprised when I came into OpenAI is just how widespread the use of AI was. And it was every team was using AI to the max. And what was really surprising was the teams that were in the past, for me, laggards in new tech adoption, were in many ways the leading, right, or like among the leader pack in how they use AI. So let me give you like two examples: legal and finance.
Yeah.
And I think HR is like right there too. I was so surprised. I come in and it's like the finance team is innovating on how they work. Now, typically you don't want a finance team to innovate, but this, like, think about a finance team with all those invoices that come in, all the contracts that come in, and time to process is a massive obstacle in the past. And the finance team with ChatGPT Enterprise, they created their own GPT that would, in a consistent way, take in contracts and structure that data, and also make it searchable, so that like these processes can repeat over and over again. And something like that in the past, like you would have to like get, I don't know, maybe like an RPA vendor in. You might need to like build all this technology around. Now anybody, it's like democratized. Any financial, that's exactly what happened. These financial analysts like figured it out, and in doing so, we close our books like much faster. Very similar story on the legal side. So I think that was my biggest aha moment, was like just seeing, okay, there are some functions that clearly you would expect to use AI a lot, right? Like now everybody uses Codex, which is our coding agent that we put out recently. Let me give you another example where you might find surprising. A lot of people on the go-to-market team now code using Codex.
What are they using it for?
They're using it to show the art of what's possible with AI for their customers. So in the past, what would you do? You would present to a customer. You might make some slides that will show kind of a workflow diagram of how this can all work. Okay, this agent will talk to this agent, and then and so forth. You might actually then bring in a solution engineer. They will then spend hours like building this demo in the product. Then they have to like show it. Now with Codex, any salesperson can create a prototype of the solution that the customer is trying to build. Let's say a customer talking to a telco. The telco wants to build a customer service platform using AI. You can build that with Codex in 20 minutes, right? In 20 minutes, you can build it. It's fully functional. You can show how agents actually work, how to talk to each other. If you want, you can show how an agent thinks. When does an agent hand off to someone else, another agent? And I think that is much more powerful, because like showing is always better than telling. And I mean, I'm talking to you, so Canva would absolutely agree with that. I would think it has changed how we interact and communicate with customers, because in the past it's very conceptual. Now, like right away, we don't even do the pitch. We just go, let's go straight in, let's show you what's possible.
I think it is the lifeblood of a product company when the whole company can use the product. We don't encourage our finance team to do creative accounting, but we do encourage them to give great storytelling and communicate their numbers and their vision in a way that everyone else at Canva does. And it is amazing when you can get every team across your organization understanding what the mission of the company is and deeply understanding what the product is and putting in feedback and helping us improve it. It is just an incredible superpower, and you can align everyone along that axis.
Absolutely. And this is what we see typically in companies. Like there's the adoption curve. Back to your very first question around how the adoption curve might be different. The adoption curve here is super steep in that we might start with like a small group of 1,000 people in a company. And it like going from 1,000 to like 50,000 users, it's like it takes a month, because so many use cases come up and people share. Right? Hey, I created this custom GPT. Right? That we all like. I think Canva is one of the world's most popular custom GPTs, right? But you can share that with your other colleague, and they can also use it. It's like a movement. It's like a wave that happens in a company, and people just unlock. They find amazing use cases. We'll do things like custom GPT hackathons with each department. Like people come in being like, hey, I can write better emails. And they walk out, everybody's like automated something, right? And then they share that with others. And so it just becomes this wave, and It's just like the number of use cases. I mean, you probably see this at Canva already.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think the channel that we see, particularly for ChatGPT, you mentioned the usage of Canva's GPT app. It has been one of our best channels over the last year or two. So there's massive opportunities for people to build software on top of the platform that you're building, and it really helps us out. We kind of consider it the next generation of SEO. It's like AI-led channel generation, and it's been amazing.
And yeah, I think that's an area that we're very excited about. We just launched our new, basically our apps SDK, so apps in ChatGPT, and I'm very excited about that because I think thinking about how can we expand the market, right, for our mutual users, I think that would be incredible if someone can really start their creative journey. And we see this already. Some people do already start their creative journey in ChatGPT. They're brainstorming with chat. They're trying to figure out ideas, and to make it so much more seamless to then move into an experience in Canva, with Canva, the opportunity is huge. And so we're excited about that distribution platform for a lot more companies like yourselves.
You started talking a bit about how teams use AI, but to me, it still feels like somewhat of a single player experience. So we're very firm believers that the future of products with AI is people working together seamlessly with their human teammates as well as their AI collaborators, and creating a platform like Canva, which gives equal access to people and technology, is vital to that. But it still seems like a lot of AI experiences now, one person talking to their assistant, copying and pasting that into a doc, or maybe slacking that across to someone, and it's still quite full of friction. Is OpenAI thinking about that in a certain way?
We're definitely, we've been watching our users and seeing what value they get. And what you mentioned is exactly the workflow we see, and we're like, okay, we have to solve this, which is, all right, everyone is getting a lot of individual benefits, and there's productivity, and then the amount of sharing that happens off platform, right? Whether it suddenly then goes into Slack or then it's copy and pasted, like it is not seamless. And so we're watching that very closely, and it's definitely an area of great interest to really think about how can you actually move into a more team environment. There's a few areas that we're very excited about. One, I'll give you an example. We launched one of the first of its kind integration with Kakao. So Kakao is like the WhatsApp of Korea, right? Everybody uses Kakao at work and at home. And we launched an integration where ChatGPT is in Kakao. And we're basically taking advantage of the social graph of Kakao, right, with ChatGPT. And we launched this maybe just 2 weeks ago. So by the time this comes out, it's going to be, maybe a couple months. It is, the integration is phenomenal. And the results, the feedback has been very positive because people can just, are able to seamlessly use ChatGPT and then bring it into a more communal experience. So that's giving us a lot of inspiration and thinking about how we can evolve the product to be more multiplayer.
So I can bring it into a group chat?
I can't tell you today. By the time this podcast launches, maybe we'll have a different conversation.
All right, you move fast at OpenAI, so I know that's not just words. Is the development of Atlas somewhat along these lines as well? That's a huge development that recently came out of OpenAI. You've launched your own browser, which I think is still got a long way to go, but you can certainly see some of the vision there. Is collaboration part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it starts with enhancing the idea that someone can have a superpowered assistant, right, who's co-working like right side by side. Atlas is a phenomenal product. I've been using it for a couple months now, and it's one of those products that it won't like hit you like right away, and it's very subtle. But I find myself using it more and more and more, and I find new use cases. Right, even preparing for this for our podcast, like I was thinking about some topics I want to think about, and I'm able to bring ChatGPT in, right, and actually like dialogue with me. So it's me, ChatGPT, and whatever I'm looking at in my browser, right? So it's all that context goes into ChatGPT automatically. It's super useful. And even the computer using agent technology that we had first developed, now you can really see it happening in Atlas. When we're done, like next time you like looking to book a restaurant reservation, like use Atlas, and it will just watch Atlas go.
All right.
It will. It's phenomenal.
I'll give it a go, and I think all our listeners should as well. You have said that, thinking about how other people are developing products and what the next wave of startups look like, that a lot of them should look to where OpenAI is going. Don't build for what's now, build for where technologies like OpenAI are going to be in a few years. As you introduce things like Atlas, as you introduce things like study mode, it seems like ChatGPT is starting to swallow everything. So how can I look further ahead and see how the startup idea that I have today is going to fit in with something that is quite broad?
Yeah, thank you. Look, yeah, our goal is not to eat everything. Our mission is broad, and we're a very mission-driven company, which is to make sure AI benefits everybody, and that it's impossible to do that by ourselves. I think the developer community is critical to our success and our own community. Like Canva is a great example, right? I think together we can do amazing things to expand the creative faculties and amplify what's possible. So a lot of our efforts right now is actually on building tools on top of our models to make it easier for developers to continue building. We launched Agent Builder, got a strong roadmap of these tools that will really help developers. And what we mentioned earlier around the apps in ChatGPT platform, I think that a lot of that feedback came from startups. And startups saying, hey, look, we're getting great value from building on top of your models. But what would really help us is if you can help us with distribution. Like we didn't, that idea didn't come from us internally. That came from the startups that we supported. And we're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. So that's why we're building it. And so I think that will become another vector for startups to partner with OpenAI closely and not just use the raw intelligence of the models, but we really think the majority of the market and opportunities on the application layer on top of the models will make it easier for you to build and distribute and take advantage of the distribution breadth of ChatGPT.
I love how much you lean into opportunities that arise just through the interactions that happen as the product grows, whether that's study mode coming out of India or it's the whole developer ecosystem coming out of your chats with startups. I love that. Undoubtedly, you've got this huge vision and you do have an idea of a roadmap, but you're also willing to take diversions and pivots to where's going to be most useful and what the user base really wants you to do.
Yeah, that's right. And I just go back to I think we all need to work on this together. Yeah, we'll build the bottom pieces of the stack, and we're going way deep now, and we're building data centers and semiconductors and such. But really, I think that the application layer, there's so much opportunity, and we all need to work together to get the benefit from AI.
There's so much that AI is going to take off our plates and give us more time back. What do you think people should be focusing on as leaders, as humans, as teammates to fill those gaps? What do we do with that extra time? What should we focus on developing in our skills and our growth?
I think about this a lot as a parent of young children. I have conversation with teachers a lot on what does this mean for education? Today, the most concrete benefit is AI gives you time and space, right? It gives you time back because it hopefully takes away the less joy-giving work that you have day to day. For teachers, no teachers really went into teaching to do administrative work, to just grade papers, right? They want to teach. And teaching is not just injecting content into the students' brains, it's really around, for a teacher, what they're really passionate about is they want to spend more time with students. They want to have more of a personal relationship with each student. They want to help students gain confidence, right? And I think back to my best teachers, it's not what they taught me. I forgot all that, right? But I can remember specific teachers who helped me reach my potential, right? And then these are all intangible things that AI can't do. I think about my day-to-day as a leader, there's like so much work to be done that the intangibles of coaching and leveling up my team, it's always a tension because we got to talk about what needs to get done, but it's my responsibility to grow talent and make sure that they continue to become stronger leaders. AI has like really helped me be more efficient, right? On just like orchestrating work. And so now I can spend more time coaching. I can spend more time seeing around corners and helping my leaders see around corners, and in doing so, enhancing their leadership capabilities. So I think that's where AI can immediately already provide value. It's like focus on all the intangibles that, generally speaking, get deprioritized because everyone's got so much work.
Has that fundamentally changed how you think about teams, who you need on your teams, how many people you need, what sort of work they should be doing, and how you need to empower them as a leader?
It does. I think it comes in more in terms of like, I think my teams can accomplish a lot more than what they had before. Right? AI should be able to take a number of things off their plate. And so I do have a higher expectation on, say, their creativity. Like the example we used earlier around like salespeople building apps. You've never seen this before, right? And like I will give feedback when I look at preparation of a meeting. I'm like, yeah, you can do it. Like your app can be better. I'll give it to a salesperson. So yeah, I have a higher expectation on output and quality of output and the creativity of the output.
I'll leave us on one final note, which is that OpenAI is working on AI for the benefit of humanity. And if we fast forward 5 years, what does a truly inclusive, globally beneficial AI ecosystem feel like for enterprises, for startups, and for everyday individuals?
In the AI world, when you say 5 years, it's like, I don't know what that actually means. I think that there's a few things that I think about. The first is, I think you'll see radically different approaches to how we approach discovery, whether it's drug discovery, protein, material discovery. It will be so different. Scientific discovery will be similar to how you prompt like a draft email today. And like, what does that mean? Right? Well, at a minimum, our hope is that the quality of life, right, the health outcomes, educational outcomes have like seriously improved as a result. We talked about access, right, through voice mode. I think, when you think voice mode meets education, like that to me is a massive leveling field. And so that's the other thing that I think will feel, and I hope will feel very different, is the lines between like what you call a professional and an amateur, I think that will blur. Because together, right, us and Canva and others would have democratized a lot of these tools. And I think that will feel different. And I think in a really good way, where there's less division amongst us all. So those are some of the things I think about.
All right. That is a great note to leave it on. I'll change gears now and move from the future of teams to the future of your team. And one question we love to ask people is, what does their all-star creative team look like? On this team, you get 4 seats. You can pick anyone from any era, any universe, dead or alive. Build your dream creative team. Who would you pick?
Oh, man. Okay, I have to think about this.
And I'm not going to let you go to AI to ask.
Okay, I think I have this. The first person I'll pick my wife, because she's an artist, and she would be upset if I didn't pick her to be the boss.
That is a great choice, and a great choice for domestic bliss.
Yeah, should be the number one pick. Steve Jobs comes to mind.
He's a very popular choice, yes.
Yeah, is he popular? Okay.
Personally, I wouldn't have him on my team. It'd be too hard.
Well, it's okay because my wife is there. My wife will keep him in check. When I was studying art history, I really enjoyed Impressionism, and the artist that really resonated with me was Cezanne. So I would put Cezanne in there.
Great choice.
And then I would pick someone probably like Johann Sebastian Bach.
That is an off-the-wall choice, but I love it. I can definitely see how that would fit in with it all.
My parents made me learn violin for like 12 years. I love playing his songs the most, so that's why.
Sounds like an amazing creative team. Okay, I think Yvonne has had enough time to feed your sketch into AI and work with it a bit. So let's bring it back to see the final results of this human AI, human creative big mismatch. Yvonne, you there?
Yes. Hello. Okay, I am excited to show what I've came up with.
Show us what you got.
That's very exciting.
I've taken your prompt, the sketch you drew about how music, you're really transported into a different world of music. I kind of took it to the next level. So brace yourself. It's a little bit strange. I have to say it's in the brain rot theme, video trend theme. So
Next
here
level
we go.
is always good, Yvonne.
Wow.
And that's
gosh.
it.
That is perfect.
I do not know how you did that all within the space of this podcast. That was Oliver as a child being inspired by his Walkman, growing up, somehow morphing into a bunny. I don't know how that fit in, but it was still amazing. And ending up with the amazing inspired individual that we see before us. Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
I hope you enjoyed that.
I loved it.
How do you feel about being a bunny, Oliver?
That's probably what I was thinking about when I was 7 years old. Being a bunny jumping around Tokyo.
All right, let's close out the episode with our rapid fire question segment. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready, Oliver?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. What are you reading at the moment?
I'm rereading Sapiens.
Nice. Very, very topical. What's one prompt you overuse?
Please explain this to me. Can I 2 seconds? Yeah. Whenever I review our research team's findings, ChatGPT is my best friend. Atlas comes in. I double click. Please explain.
What is your favorite underrated AI tool? And you can't say ChatGPT.
Underrated. I would go back to my voice mode as my favorite tool.
All right. Sum up AI in one word.
I would say amplification.
You and AI are making an album. What's the genre?
The genre is freestyle jazz.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Baroque classical. What's one job AI should never do?
I think a real good friend.
Nice. And finish this sentence. A surprising thing AI taught me about myself is...
I'm not as much of a structured thinker as I thought I was.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Oliver. That's it. That's all we have time for. Thank you so much for diving deep with me on everything OpenAI and internationalization and what the future of collaboration looks like. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
It's been a blast. Thank you so much for having me, Cam.
Before we wrap up, I want to share the 3 big takeaways that really stuck with me from my chat with Oliver J. First up, AI is universal but local. ChatGPT has over 800 million users. And when Oliver was comparing it to his time at Asana and Dropbox, he said that OpenAI's growth happened around the globe from day one, rather than being a market-by-market approach. This is part of AI Chat's appeal, but we still see really nuanced behaviour country by country. I love that the way people used AI in India to learn developed into a new feature, study mode, that could then be taken back out to the rest of the world. That is just great product development. Second, upskilling is the real multiplier. OpenAI isn't just scaling tech, they are scaling people. They've launched an academy, certifications, and soon even a jobs platform to help people get AI ready. And that is a clue for all of us. Inside your company, you need your own version of that, a way for every function from finance to marketing to level up and become AI fluent. The organizations that invest in learning now will move faster and sprint ahead with compounding gains. And finally, use AI to make work more human, not less. I'm often reminded of a recent quote that AI helps you get to the hard parts faster, but it can't replace empathy, creativity, and moving forward with impact. That's our job as leaders, to spend the time AI gives us back on the stuff only humans can do. So if you remember anything from this episode, prepare your systems, upskill your teams, and lean harder into the human side of leadership. I'm Cameron Adams, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Prompted, a podcast about AI, people, and the creative spark. To keep up with future episodes, please hit the subscribe button right now on YouTube or wherever you love listening to this podcast. And if you're enjoying the show, you can also subscribe to our Substack newsletter. Just head on over to the show notes for the link. Until next time, keep chasing that creative spark.